It is the last tournament of Legion, and right now EU is looking absolutely insane. Our attention still going to be on the upper portion of the bracket, and it's going to be making a movie versus XRB to the moon. That guarantees one of these European squads a pretty good place on this bracket. My name is Rich, and I am joined on the desk by Zico, Joe, and Venruki. And ultimately, these two teams, both are really interesting ones to talk about. XRB to the moon had seemed like they've fallen off, and now they're performing out of their minds, making a movie. We haven't really seen them at full power at LAN. When these two match up, what do you think of these two squads, Zico?
I mean, we've seen it in the European Cups before, and these two guys, these two teams, such a close series always. It always pretty much comes down to a game number 5. We see comps like the WLD versus the RMP. But actually on LAN, I want to give the edge to XRB because even though making a movie are such a phenomenal RMP, I think you can't play to that level on a LAN as the RMP, and just the LAN environment in general is going to favor XRB. And then when you factor in how they played in their first series, it's not looking good for making a movie, honestly.
Yeah, making a movie probably hasn't been challenged quite as much, I would maybe say, today. Venruki, how do you think it is looking for making a movie against XRB to the moon?
I think it's going to be a difficult matchup for sure, but making a movie, they really impressed me in that first game. So I think if anyone's up for the task, it's most likely going to be them. But XRB, with the way Blizzo's playing in these matchups defensively, that is going to be crucial in a matchup like this against a Rogue Mage Priest. And if he can continue that defensive play, I think it is going to be really difficult.
Now, I feel like either of these teams are probably feeling relatively decent going into this one. Maybe not about the matchup as much as the fact that their region is doing very well. Why would anyone care if their region's doing well? Well, at stake at this tournament is a spot at BlizzCon. EU was able to take the first LAN of the year. Now they are primed to take the second one as well. And on the bracket, we're going to see it's all European teams that are going to be in this upper portion of the bracket. So some of these squads from the EU, even if they do drop down to the lower portion of the bracket, they basically have advocates fighting for them in that top portion, Joe.
Indeed, and as you can see, the two teams that we were really rooting for were the Move and Superfox, and they got completely slaughtered by EU. And it's just crazy to see that they're all going to be in that bottom bracket, and 2 NA teams will go out, and it's just a very dire situation indeed.
First Zico, now Joe. What's going on here?
Joe adapted pretty quickly to the desk life, to the EU desk life. But well, man, we are going to see 2 NA teams getting sent home, so that is a relatively scary thing. But turn our attention back to this matchup. What has it been about XRB, Zico, here that we're starting to see them back in form?
They really haven't had a good LAN performance before this. They've always looked really good in Cups. They've always looked super good on ladder. But for some reason, when it comes to the LAN, they just seem to not click. And that's a big testament to that is the spring tournament as well, where they had a very disappointing result. And here today, they came in as the underdogs, and they took out one of the Titans already. And again, this is kind of a familiar foe for them. So I think that it's going to be great. We also see the debut of Zipa, so that's going to be good for them.
69% of people saying that XRB to the moon will be able to take this one, but you can do all the math you want. One thing is 100% certain. EU will lose for the first time today in this series.
There's no question about it. Making a movie, I like what they're doing. Ratify playing the Dark Archangel. That's going to give them a lot more offensive potential in this matchup. They're most likely going to be able to survive for a little while, so having that edge on damage is going to be very important.
Indeed, and Ludigan's catch in that kidney shot right now. He's in barefoot. He gets put into that ring of frost. They're looking to go offensive on the Zipa, get a lot of pressure. They use the Frozen Orb, but not the Dark Archangel yet, and Zipa still needs to use that Astral Shift. Full Fear comes out to Looney. It's very low on HP. He uses that Hellstone as well. They really want to survive, but he's just so low. They didn't even use that Dark Archangel. Looney now using that Incarnation. He's going to spam out those heals, being able to free to cast. And now, here's the Infernal Stuns coming out from Warwick's. The Fell Lord. Can we see a Vortex come out? Yeah, we do. It actually lands on Marrow's Blink right there. A lot of pressure coming out with the Earthquakes as well. And this is what XRB to the moon want to do. They want Warwick's to use that Fell Lord, get those Thou Kills consumptions, and look to pressure and just get those ice blocks from Mara.
Yeah, not a bad start for making a movie. Big swap on his Z-Pi. He trinkets out of the smoke bomb into the cheap shot, though. Can they get the damage? Dark Archangel going to be used. Z-Pi managed to get away, but the cheap shot onto Looney. Still crowd controlling him up. Can they get the Ring of Frost full blind into a polymorph? The overlap. Looney able to easily trinket out of that. It wasn't really that bad, though. Mara was just going for the polymorphs. Looney's able to escape. He used his trinket on the blind, which isn't a horrible trade, but now XRB to the Moon have nothing left.
Indeed, they have nothing left for them. They need to survive these goes from making a move, and he's going to have that Dark Archangel very soon. Maro still has that Icy Veins too, as well as that Frozen Orb. He could be looking to use that very soon. Z-Pi still doesn't have the Astral Shift or the trinkets. They need to make a move now, and they're just not unable to. Mara and Rapai just buy the pillar. Arakurolo's looking for a re-stealth as well. Warwicks and Z-Pi just shine them down completely.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Just hide behind the pillars, save Ratapai's mana, wait for your goes, wait for your DRs. Maro's going to be charging in, get some procs, big damage onto Z-Pi. There's a kidney shot. Looney responds with the Iron Bark immediately. Not bad, but no real offensive committed by making a movie. Dark Archangel's going to be off cooldown. Maro still has that clutch Icy Veins. They just need one good crowd control on Looney, and they can take Z-Pi down through that Astral Shift. It's going to be a matter if they can find that damage or not.
Indeed, making a move kind of just baited out the Iron Bark there. They saw it came out during that kidney shot to Z-Pi, so they popped nothing, and now they're going to wait again to just pop that trigger, the Dark Archangel and the Frozen Orb, and try and just completely crush him. But Z-Pi does have that Astral Shift. He doesn't have the trinket though, so it's up to Acro to set it up and make that devastating swap, and it looks like they're trying to push in right now. Acrolos gets further. They're doing an excellent job kiting around XRB's the Moon once again with their offensive defensive play. Acrolos trying to get a stun, but again, the positioning so good. Kidney shot to Z-Pi. Here it is. The Icy Veins and the Dark Archangel is getting completely crushed, but Looney is able to heal it for now. The Astral Shift gets used. There was just no crowd control until Looney was able to free cast the heals and just about keep him up.
Can they get the follow-up, CC? Cheap shot into cheap shot on Looney. Into the full ring. Z-Pi, he needs to kite. He needs to get away. Behind the pillar with the healing surge. Still has the gateway. Just going to be kiting away from Acro. Looney out of the crowd control now. Able to top off. Making a movie. They went all in there with no crowd control on Looney whatsoever. Luckily, he was able to heal through the damage. Z-Pi is going to be okay. But still, Looney a little bit behind on mana. He's been pre-healing a lot through this damage, making sure hots are on everyone. At some point, he's going to have to go for a drink.
Indeed, and he might need to get that drink now. It looks like he's maybe going to be able to get Mara super low with that Earthshock stun, and they force the Vim and Vigor off of Rapai as well. Mara forced into that first Ice Block, has to use the Cold Snap. And now they finally get those defensive cooldowns from making move the Rapture as well. Here's the Orb onto Z-Pi, though they're trying to get a lot of pressure, but once again, Looney is just max ranging, keeping up those heals. No crowd control on him, but making a movie, maybe they're trying to out-dampen the dampeners.
Yeah, it seems like they're really just going for a damage strategy. Build up damage, do a big go, force Looney to use a lot of his mana, and because of that, he's slightly behind, but Rapai's mana is not doing great, though they still have the Dark Archangel. Icy Veins not up for another minute and a half, and Z-Pi will have the Astral Shift for that, so this isn't looking too bad for XRB. They just need to do a solid game defensively, making sure Looney doesn't run out of mana. Another go looking like he's going to be coming from making a movie onto Z-Pi, but still no CC committed onto Looney.
Indeed, making a movie, need to make something happen soon because they're kind of just getting away playing defensively. There's a smoke bomb onto Z-Pi. He has the trinket if needed. The beautiful Infernal Stun coming out from Warwick's there, and the Fell Lord go as well. Not only is he getting so much pressure right now, it forces out that pain pressure, but a kidney swap onto Looney. I think this could just be it. He's getting crushed. He's getting put into a cheap shot again. Mara gets feared, but it's not enough. That was an absurd amount of damage coming from making a movie. Indeed, swapping to Looney, and they're going to take that first game.
That was such a nice swap, forcing Looney to overextend his healing over onto Z-Pi, and eventually just catching him in that kidney shot and taking him out. They really tricked him with that smoke bomb.
You know, the other thing that I gotta mention, right? This is such a hard comp to play in land. That's something that we've talked about. Rogue Mage, very hard to play. A lot of that is going to be because of the rogue. It is not the easiest thing to play, and ultimately we do see a cross kill come out here. Okay, we'll get back to that in a second, because there's a cross kill, and Ratai going to be locked out here. We're going to see another shear to follow that up. Ratai looking a little scared here. Walrix and Z-Pi trying to tear on in.
Yeah, Ratai needs to hold on just a little bit longer. Z-Pi with the Astral Shift's going to be denying some of this damage, but if Ratai can just get out a little healing, ultimately Z-Pi will fall to Acro. Nice crowd control, though. Fears coming in from Walrix to keep him alive. Full Hex on Ratai. Acro has nothing left but a pillar. And pillar should be enough for him to survive against these wizards. Z-Pi is going to be running away, trying to get those heals on himself, but if Aggro connects with a full stun, there's the blind, just really trying to set him up. Joe, I'm scared for Z-Pi.
Indeed, I'm scared for him too, because I think at this point, all making a movie really needs to do is survive right now. Marapai is very low on mana, but Z-Pai should ultimately fall. He doesn't have a healer. Warriors can only fear for so long. He's just going to get crushed. He doesn't have the astral shift. Acrolaw's connected some damage. Uses that cloak offensive. He wants to get a kill. Beautiful stun from Wooks. They're doing everything they possibly can. A Fel Lord comes out as well, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And I think eventually and inevitably, Z-Pai falls down.
Oh, I got my blood pumping for a second there. But back to kind of the main thought I was having here is that making a movie, they are playing a composition that has traditionally struggled on the LAN environment due to the lack of add-ons. It is very difficult for a rogue to be able to do everything in the LAN environment. Acrolaw's, on top of that, this is his first LAN. And Zico, I feel like he is really just showing up in a huge way.
Absolutely. He's been doing a phenomenal job for his team, and you can tell it's not just Acro, but Acro and Maro, they seem to have really good synergy with when they go and who they choose to go on. They like to do these bait setups where they go onto Z-Pai and they make it look like they're going to commit. Looney preemptively ironbarks, and then Maro just sheeps him. They run away, then they wait, then they get their DRs, they stack up the damage, and then they try to do a big one-shot. And these opportunities, and then of course the ending of the game as well, where they smoke bomb Z-Pai, so Looney is gonna panic and be out of form, spam healing, and then instead they catch Looney and they do the big go on him instead. It's a lot of mind games, and it doesn't seem to be hindered at all by the fact that they're on LAN. They seem to be playing just as comfortable as if they were at home.
It's a really cheeky style of go, too. It's not something that is easy to get done, and, you know, Acrolaw's is doing a phenomenal job to facilitate that. A lot of that is going to be the rogue, but you can't not talk about Maro. I mean, we've already seen really what Maro can do all last year, and now we're seeing that from him again up on the stage with the Young Rat.
Yeah, there's no question about it. The three of them together, just such an excellent pairing. You can see here in the final moments of that game with a nice kidney shot swap onto Looney. And like we talked about, it was that smoke bomb bait. And what I liked about what making a movie did, we talked about how add-ons sort of hinder your offensive crowd control. It seemed like they were just willing to go with damage. They didn't necessarily need big CC chains on Looney. They were just putting damage in the right places at the right time. And that really forced XRB into a defensive position.
I definitely did, and this is also one of the reasons that we really keep bringing up the fact that this is the last tournament of Legion. We expect to see these guys totally skill-capped. Now, how can XRB try to change their path to victory going into the second map, Joe?
I mean, typically against the RMP, they have liked to play that warrior log trade. Once again, we've just commend how Blizzard is playing insanely well at that warrior. Probably the best warrior in the world now, in my opinion. And I think bringing him in, they'll get a lot more peels on that rogue. He's just able to shut them down with the storm bolts, the Psalms, the Fizz, and it could be a lot harder for the RMP to get that kill.
You know, we've complimented Blizzo pretty much the entire year, but there's a little bit of extra weight when Joe's actually on the desk right now. I'm just saying it. You know, we can commend a warrior until we're blue in the face, but hearing it from Joe Fernandez himself, going to be a big deal, and now we're going to see Making a Movie actually lock in their composition here. Dalaran Sewers going to be the pick from XRB to the moon. Ben, what do you think of this map pick?
Oh, I think it's not bad. It's gonna. What we saw in the last game was Making a Movie. You know, they put out their damage and they just hide, which is normally we don't see RMP do that. They're just continuously going over and over and over. But I think without those add-ons, like we said, they've changed up their tactics a little bit. And I think running away behind the pillar, kind of getting those resets, was super effective for them on the Grand Arena. So on a smaller map like Dalaran Arena, it's going to be more difficult for them to get those hard resets, those hard runaways. And XRB to the moon might be able to challenge that positioning a little more.
XRB could definitely try to do just that. Do you think that's going to be the strategy that we see come out here, Zico, from XRB?
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to try to pincer them behind that pillar, drop a nice Fel Lord there to kind of shut down the area of effect, and then have Z-Pai with the Stormkeeper trying to come in and snipe some lightning, some chain lightnings onto them and get their pressure built up that way.
You know what I actually think is going on? I think Making a Movie is going to pick RMP, and XRB is going to be like, okay, Windwalker DK. Like, I kind of forgot that they had. I think that's what's coming their way. So it's going to be interesting for Making a Movie. Do they preemptively lock in the Windwalker Arcane Mage, or do they just go with the Rogue Mage Priest? They go with the Frost Sub, but I feel like XRB to the moon, they're so comfortable in this matchup, playing the triple Orc with the Windwalker DKs. I really think that's what they're going for.
Joe, do you think that that is the right comp choice to come out from XRB in response to Making a Movie going with the Rogue Mage again?
I think so. Typically, we've seen as well in the past that when this situation has arisen, every time they lock in that Windwalker, Death Knight, Resto Shaman, especially on maps like Sewers and Ruins, they have actually been able to best make in a movie. And like we said, we see the sub-frost, so they're not going to have the pressure of the arcane or the kiting of an arcane too. They love to just tunnel down the frost mage, pretty much make sure he doesn't get away with doing any significant pressure or crowd control chains and just take it down eventually. But there it is.
Good read.
Walker Death Knight once again, and Unholy as well. Zipa is actually impressive on that Unholy Death Knight as well, able to shut them down. And with Looney on that Restoration, like you said, he won BlizzCon and that Shaman. He's very, very experienced on it.
Now, how does making a movie have to actually change how they play against this composition from XRB, Zico?
I mean, this is going to be an uphill battle, and playing against this particular comp with no add-ons is so difficult. And the big reason to why it is because if you blind the Shaman and you try to kill somebody, the Monk is really, really difficult to kill. And the DK tends to be the main target that you have to go for because he has a long cooldown on his defensives, 3-minute CD on Icebound, etc. So you have to go for the DK. Now, the problem is the Shaman can comfortably sit through the blinds because the DK has so many defensives. And at the same time, if you try to kill the Shaman, there is that anti-magic zone, which is such a key ability in this matchup. You can bank that cooldown for any time Looney is in big trouble, and then you can get him out from that dire situation. Now, when you factor in the fact that it's a small map as well, it's just so much things that you have to overcome. And the only real good way to defeat this comp as RMP is to go Shaman, then you sheep Shaman right away, and you switch to DK, then you sheep the DK and go back to the Shaman, and you just keep swapping around. Doing that without add-ons, I mean, even if you're making a movie, I just say good luck.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it would be something that's easy to do, even with add-ons. So now another thing that we want to talk about, of course, is Windwalker DK. We've talked about this comp throughout the year between NA and EU, and it's kind of seemed like this team in particular, XRB to the Moon, has played Windwalker DK a different way than some of the other teams. Rookie, do you think that the play style that XRB to the Moon has typically gone down with Windwalker DK is what we want to see here up on the stage?
Well, we normally compare them to Method Orange, and Method Orange normally plays the all-in strats onto the healer. They're not afraid to play double Blood Elf and really just put the pressure onto the Priest. XRB to the Moon, I actually think this strategy against Frost Sub, the strategy of playing, double Orc with double Relentless if you want to play that, where both your DPS are exceptionally tanky and you just kind of try to stall out the game, just try to survive, interrupt the mage, prevent any sort of significant damage or CC chains. I think it's actually a better and safer strategy. So I really like the way XRB to the Moon plays this particular matchup, and I expect that they are very favored.
Yeah, Blood Elf would be what we would expect if it was going to be that all-in strategy due to those racial abilities, but now we are going to see making a movie leading by one headed into Dalaran Sewers. How will XRB decide to play this one?
All right, I think they're going to be just pretty much tunneling Mara the entire game. It could depend on Rapai's choice if he chooses that Vim and Vigor, but they're also going to be playing those Orcs. Now, having Orc Relentless means it's going to be very difficult for the Subtlety row to get a lot of pressure since all those stuns will be heavily reduced, and I think XRB to the Moon are looking very good. They're just going to get kidney shot onto Looney, and once again, he is playing that Orc Relentless. It's very short. They get the Chief Shots on this Z-Pyre, full sheep on the Looney, pressuring Z-Pyre a lot now. He may need to use a cooldown. He hasn't used anything just yet. He gets really low. There's the anti-magic shell comes out. Blizzard trying to get pressure on the Mara right now as well, stunning him up. A full blind onto Looney. Once again, won't be able to trinket out of that, so Z-Pie could be in a lot of trouble, Venriki.
Yeah, gonna be no follow-up sap, though. He should be able to heal Z-Pie through this damage. Amaro getting very aggressive here with that Frozen Orb, but Z-Pie is gonna be running line of sighting, allowing Looney an opportunity to really top him off, and that is going to be the goal for XRB to the Moon. Just deny the damage, play the clock, try to out-mana Ratify, but so far Ratify is doing quite well.
Indeed, he is doing well. He's playing with that normal Archangel now instead of the Dark Archangel, so he's going to be able to have pretty much good mana gen the entire game. A counterspell against Landlord's really well played by Mara there. He's getting bursted down himself. He has to use that Ice Block immediately. That was a crazy amount of burst damage coming from Z-Pie and Blizzo.
Yeah, nice swap over onto Ratify as well, knocking off that Vim, so his healing's going to be reduced. Ratify realizing the situation, pops the Raptor. He does not want to fall behind against his team. Needs to top off Marl so they can get aggressive. Seems like Marl trying to do the best he can, putting pressure onto Z-Pie. I like that strategy because it makes it difficult for Looney. Who does he keep the Earth Shield on? Puts the Earth Shield on Z-Pie. Now they make a swap over on him. Big pressure coming in from making a movie as Looney gets lower and lower, but he still has the... Actually doesn't have the Astral Shift. This is actually kind of a scary moment. I think he actually fake cast a Shadow Step kick there. Finally, Looney's able to connect some heals and ultimately survives.
That was a great fake there by Looney. If he got kicked there, the most likely would have been the Spirit Link or his life right now. A bomb go onto Z-Pie. He has the trinket if needed and the Icebound Fortune, but he looks relatively fine. Looney's free to keep him alive, and Blizzard with the pills as well. The touch of Jeff Go as well on Mara, but he just temporal shields that's going to negate the damage of it completely, and a full sheep on a Blizzard on his Storm Earth and Fire. They're just kind of negating the pressure from both teams here.
Once again, split strategy coming in. There is the Earth Shield on Aluni. Are they going to go for Z-Pi if they can get any CC on Aluni? Kidney shot potentially into a fear. It looks like Z-Pi is the target of choice, but a preemptive AMS going to deny all of that incoming damage. That was a really nice setup by making a movie, but unfortunately for them, XRB read the situation. Z-Pi was ready, and he's running away.
Indeed, he Wraith walks out of there completely. He knows Looney gets caught into a sheep, and the AMS falls, so he just wants to play to live right now, play for that mana game. But Radapai and Looney are actually Radapai is a little bit ahead of mana, so Blizzard and Z-Pi need to try and force that second block to put a lot of pressure on the Mara. And there's the grip go on him into a Fist of Fury, and there's that second ice block we were talking about, and that's going to put a huge amount of pressure on him making a movie. Mara's going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he absolutely is. The thing is, he still has his Icy Veins available. If they can get one nice setup on the Looney, they might be able to take him down, but Z-Pi just sitting on that AMZ, going to have that available. Z-Pi getting a little bit low right now. Nice swap coming in for making a movie with the blind. Do they have any follow-up? Maro looking for the Ring of Frost. He manages to land it. Z-Pi uses the AMZ on himself. That's the Icy Veins. Do they have the damage to take him down? Corpse Shield might be enough, but he's out of line of sight of Looney. Still able to heal himself. The Spirit Link from downtown for Looney, ultimately going to keep Z-Pi alive.
That Spirit Link was absolutely absurd. It just about caught Z-Pi and Blizzard, and it's going to keep them alive for now. He's still around half HP, and Looney needs to top him up. Needs to deal with that counter. Mara in a lot of trouble. The pain suppression comes out now. That's the last key defensive for quite some time. He has the temporal shields, but nothing significant to keep him alive. The sap on the Radapai, they're just going to try and go through this temporal shield right now. Blizzard has the touch of death very soon as well. This could be the kill on the Mara very soon.
Yep, still good pressure on Amaro, but like you said, no ice block for quite some time. Full sweep on Looney. Here we go. Once again on to Z-Pi. He uses the AMS preemptively again, denying that frozen orb damage. Leg sweep on Acro and Maro, though. Blizzo's doing everything he can to keep him alive, but they just can't find the damage on the Z-Pi. He's going to be completely fine. And once again, making a movie, forced to default back to that split strategy, but Radapai is running out of time with his mana bar.
Indeed, Blizzard doing an extra job defensively now on the Windwalker as well. They stun Radapai's trinket on that paralysis there. Mara has his trinket soon. He still needs 3 minutes for that ice block, and I'm not sure if he's going to live to see that, because we're going to be pushing into dampening soon as well. No huge defensive cooldowns for that, and Z-Pi and Blizzard are on top of Mara. The kidney shot to Looney. They need to make something happen right now. A beautiful grip comes in from Z-Pi, but Looney tries to gust the win away from that fear. If they can follow up, they'll be in trouble, but they look very good. Z-Pi Wraith walks to the pillar, and they're playing defensively superb.
Yep, there's no question about it. Z-Pi knows when he's in trouble, and he's able to escape for Looney to heal him back up. That Icy Veins really is that critical cooldown, but the problem is, against an Unholy Death Knight, they'll always have that AMZ to trade out in order to keep them alive. Interrupt over on the Looney. Good pressure on the Z-Pi once again. Has to use the AMS, but he gets topped off so quickly. Maro looking for a polymorph, unfortunately gets interrupted there, and now Z-Pi and Blizzo able to reconnect.
Looney uses that Urban Shield tome onto himself, so no shenanigans coming out from Acrolos onto him right now. Blizzard and Z-Pi just pushing in onto Mara. Blizzard gets sheep downstairs. I don't think they're going to make a swap onto him. He still has that touch of karma. Kidney shot onto Looney. Will Mara be able to push him for that sheep? Radapai trying to push him for it, but they use a blind instead. They're trying to pressure Z-Pi. The anti-magic zone comes out, and this was the situation that nearly got him off now, and he might just go down through the anti-magic zone. He tries to jump down, but he goes down, and making a move, you're able to find that win condition just pretty much on Z-Pi the entire game, and they go 2-0 up.
They're looking absolutely insane here as well.
This is the first time I think we've actually seen them beat a Windwalker DK setup like that. Normally they go down to that Unholy Death Knight Windwalker DK, but they are playing it so phenomenally. I'm very impressed with this team.
And keep in mind, Windwalker DK is one of the comps, like when we got here and we were like, oh my god, it's so good on land, it's so good on land. Rogue Mage is cursed on land. It's absolutely terrible on land 90% of the time, and now they're just looking bonkers. They were doing so well, and all of a sudden, we really are, we gotta say, making a movie is looking like one of the teams that can really go for a deep run here.
I mean, making a movie with no add-ons, keep that in mind. They did such an insane triple CC at the end there. They fear up Blizzo on that Monk, then they get a full blind onto Looney, they get a stun onto Z-Pi, Maro gets a full ring out of the blind as well onto Looney, and it's a complete 3-on-1 for the majority of that kill duration. And doing these setups on land, knowing when people don't have kicks and when it's safe to do so, and when people don't have cooldowns, that's all things you have to keep track of in your head, and it's so difficult to execute, but they managed to do it beautifully. And honestly, I would have liked to see XRB just run at Ratapie, just give them the method treatment, you know?
And not go for that strategy that, we were kind of talking about the different strategies that can be employed for that composition. We definitely did see the more defensive one, which we expected to see. But also, I feel like on the desk for the majority, Joe, you said you did want to see that more defensive playstyle, correct?
Indeed, I think it's really due to this within pre-spec. Like, if he plays that Vim and Vigor, then I would agree with Zika, they should try and rush him down. But if he's playing defender, nothing's really stopping them to keep up on the mage. And I think making a move, they're doing this so well because they're doing those goes kind of every 30 seconds, as they said, just pretty much every 30 seconds, make sure that the stun DRs are up so they can just control the goes every 30 seconds. And every time as well, they were able to go through that anti-magic zone. They nearly killed Z-Pi through it before, and the Spirit Link clutch just came in from Looney, but then the second time it just wasn't enough.
Now, what do we see out of XRB to the moon next? It really is going to be the question. Zico, do you expect to see them try to change compositions again, or do you think we see Windwalker DK?
I think it depends on the map, honestly, but if they pick a larger map or a medium-sized map, so if they go for a Tolveron or an Ashermains or maybe Tiger's Peak, one of those maps, then we can kind of know that they're going to be picking the Ellie Demo Warlock, Resto Druid, which is kind of their bread and butter. But if we see a small map picked, I would kind of lean on a Windwalker DK, and maybe they just change up their strategy and they try to go for the throw on Ratapie. I would like to see that.
All right, well, we're going to see it after this quick break. It's going to be Making a Movie versus XRB to the moon when we return. Are we going to see a 3-0? Are we going to see which team are we going to see drop down to the lower portion of the bracket?
To focus our practice. We focus on the certain matchups we're gonna face, and there's a lot of matchups we don't even know yet from the American scene, like RPS. That probably is one of the biggest thing in they're the best team in America probably, and there's Windwalker. There's not much of that in Europe either. So we started to try and get war games going against those kind of comps. The team we are most worried about is Super Frogs, definitely. We think they're the best team in America right now. I'm feeling really confident that we have Acrolos with us this time, with 4-man roster, and I think we can win it all with him.
I think the MVP of our team is Looney sometimes, but it really depends. I don't think we have MVP in our team because we play all good. We need to all play good.
On our team, I try to calm them down when they're yelling a lot, although sometimes proves quite difficult. Maybe I'm a shrink. Going into this LAN, we've been practicing a bunch of different new comps that we're currently the highest rated team in the world, and we're really hoping to prove ourselves at this LAN.
Folks, welcome back. We may see a 3-0 in this upper portion of the bracket, and we're about to see who the first EU team to drop down to the lower portion of the bracket is going to be. My name is Rich. I'm going to be your host, and I'm joined by Zico, Joe Fernandez, and Elliot Van Rookie Venzel. Who do you think is going to take this one? I mean, we got a pretty clear winner here, but there is definitely potential, Van Rookie, for XRB to claw back into this.
Making a movie, they're playing insane. They're up 2-0, but I don't know if that tells the full story. I mean, I feel like Making a Movie was literally one setup away from, like, that was the last setup of the game. 2 games in a row. I mean, in the first game we saw a cross kill. The second game, Ratipai completely out of mana. So XRB, if they could have just held on a little bit longer, could definitely still be in this.
But the question is now, with 3 opportunities to close it out, will they be able to find a setup like that again, Zico?
I mean, it's definitely an uphill battle from here because, I mean, it's comp-wise as well. What do you actually pick at this point that can reliably win 3 games back to back to back? And you also have to keep in mind that there's still the Windwalker Arcane Mage, so it's not like you can win 1 game and then go over to the Windwalker DK and counter comp or anything like that. You have to constantly keep in mind that there is more threats on this team as well. They can play Arcane Assassination as well. So I think XRB to the Moon have a really difficult task ahead of them, and honestly I think they should just pick the LSD. Okay, never mind, I'm gonna hold my thoughts there.
All right, Making a Movie. They can close it out here and send XRB down to the lower portion of the bracket.
Yeah, going to be complete mirror of last game. No trinket changes for either side of these teams. Making a Movie, they're going to have to do the setups. Once again, Acro sitting on Looney really forces him to make hard decisions in these matchups. So I think Making a Movie is bringing the right strategy. XRB just has to deflect a little bit longer than the last game.
The double leg sweep comes out, gets both those human rituals for Acro and Mara. They're trying to get offensive onto Zipai right hand. Good peels from Blizzard and Zipai using that anti-magic shell to mitigate some of that pressure. But no orb and no ice evades being committed yet. And they're still munching Zipai right now. He's getting very low. Looney comes out of that fit. Is going to be looking to top him up. Ratipai also mind controlling Blizzard, just completely negating XRB to the Moon's opener, and are looking very good once again.
Yeah, Zipai still has the trinket and Icebound Fortitude, so didn't commit too much in the opener. Looney every single defensive cooldown as well. Making a Movie, going to be pulling back once again. Split strategy implemented. Morrow and Ratipai just trying to create as much pressure on Zipai as possible, making a tough decision for Looney. Morrow taking a little bit of damage, but he should be fine looking for the polymorph. With this map positioning, though, it's going to be really difficult for him to land that crowd control on the Looney.
Indeed, Looney just staying in the room, but a full blind now. They're making a swap on the Zipai. Use that Icebound Fortitude and a Wraithwalk defensively away to get out of that frozen orb, but they stop the Ring of Freeze, but they get the sap. Zipai still in trouble. They're just going to kill him through this Icebound Fortitude. Maybe they break the sap. Looney's actually going to be able to heal Zipai now, keep him top, but that was at the cost of that huge defensive cooldown.
Yep, so they traded out the blind for the Icebound Fortitude. Not the worst decision ever, but the map positioning makes it so difficult. Once again, nice setup coming in from Blizzo with that grip. Big pressure on the Ratipai. Maybe they just go all in at this point, but Looney's just hiding out of line of sight. Still really good pressure on the Ratipai. I don't know if he was prepared for this. Archangel's going to be used. He gets interrupted. Rapture as well. Is he going to be able to hold on just a little bit longer? Here comes the purges from Looney, but a nice kidney shot from Acro will deny. I think Ratipai might be able to survive this.
They could keep up the also. He still has the pain special. Use that Rapture Archangel to keep himself alive. Like you said, Looney was a bit behind, but he came out and then a kidney shot denying that purge pressure. Now a full sheep as well. Zipai could be in trouble. Doesn't have that anti-magic zone or that Icebound Fortitude Fear comes down as well, but it looks like they're gonna be okay to survive right now.
Yeah, Blizzo and Zipai, though, reconnecting on Ratipai. He trinkets out of that Asphyxia, just spamming out the Shadowmans. Morrow's there to help as well. There's a full sheep on Blizzo. Looney nowhere to be found to get that Dispel. Acro really keeping him at bay, and that is so important. When Looney wants to get aggressive with the Dispels, with the offensive purges, if Acro can swap to him, deny that with the kidney shot, deny that with pressure, it's going to be big for Making a Movie to survive.
Indeed, and Ratipai's position has been so good. He's pretty much 100 yards away from Looney, but then it's a setup. The grip leg sweep coming out onto Ratipai. Doesn't have the trigger ready. The pain suppression is used. The touch of death is used as well. Blizzo still has that Storm, Earth, and Fire. Those are the last offensive calls for Ratipai for about a minute as well. So there could be a huge opening to get a kill onto him.
Yeah, Smoke Bomb available for Acro. There's the Icy Veins as well. Kidney shot on Looney, cheap shot on Blizzo. Whoa. Triple CC coming in. Big pressure on the Zipai as he's caught into the stun lock. Can they take him down? AMS going to be used. No follow-up onto Looney, and now Zipai and Looney able to safely retreat to the room. Morrow unable to chase as Blizzo is denying him. He's putting out pressure where he can. Ratipai doesn't want to get too aggressive as he realizes he's very vulnerable.
Oh, the grip, Fist of Fury actually gets missed on Ratipai. They use a stun. They're trying to do a go on the Blizzard, but it was a triple DR cheap shot, so it was a waste, but they did use the anti-magic zone as well. Blizzard was low on HP, still has that touch of karma. Rapai did use that trick as well, and once again, like you said, Ben, Blizzo is doing an excellent job peeling Maris, stopping those half sheeps, which is just keeping their team alive and looking well into ooming Rapai and winning the game eventually.
That was a big mistake from Zeepai. They need the AMZ. Here it is, big pressure on Zeepai. Here's the Icy Veins, everything they need to take him down. He needs to run. He needs to get away. Polymorph onto Looney. Can he manage to survive a little bit longer? Gets out of line of sight. Blizzo there to heal him up. Good heals from him as well as defensive play. Acro not able to get there with the disable route coming in from Blizzo. That was a good opportunity for making a movie. Unfortunately, they weren't able to capitalize, but Zeepai could still be in some trouble. Looney not able to reconnect just yet. Finally able to get some heals out. And now looks like XRB to the moon wants to get aggressive once again.
Yeah, indeed. They stun Rapai. It doesn't have the trinket or the pain suppression, but they don't get too much pressure. And that's because Mara is on point with the sheeps. And now Ebonbolt comes flying. Now they make a swap on the Blizzo. He has no touch of karma. I don't know where it went. He used it earlier and now he doesn't have that. So both Blizzo or Zeepai could be very vulnerable right now, and that's going to be a difficult situation for Looney to be put in.
Yep, Blizzo and Zeepai looking like they want to get some pressure on tomorrow. I like the way they're playing it. Frozen Orb going to be dropped. I don't know how much effective damage that's going to be getting out, though. Big pressure on the Zeepai. Ice Nova connects as well. Death Grip over on the Rapai, denying that incoming fear. Very nicely done, keeping his healer out of crowd control, allowing him to survive a little longer. Mara still has both ice blocks, though. This pressure on tomorrow isn't that great, but Rapai almost completely tapped on mana once again. This is the situation XRB wants to find themselves in. They just need to hold on a little longer.
Yeah, there's the touch of death. Now they are committing to Rapai, and it could be that Vim and Vigor choice, but a Ring of Frost onto Looney. Blizzard could be in trouble. He doesn't have the touch of karma. They're actually going on to Zeepai right now. He Wraith walks once again defensively, just getting out of line of sight of Mara and Rapai, just going to reduce that pressure. And Blizzo peeling Acrolos, who actually uses his trinket on that Fist of the Fury, so there could be potential to go on him, but it looks like they're just going to gun down Rapai. He's completely out of mana. We're in a similar situation to the last game. The game will end very soon.
Yeah, Rapai trying to heal himself up with smites as well as that powered barrier just to deny some of that damage. We have just stuck into dampening right now. Clarity Will's coming out, incapacitate. Big swap over on Morrow. This could be his first ice block. Morrow should be fine, so they just need to hold on a little longer. Big swap on Looney though. AMZ's going to be dropped out, but that's not going to line up with Morrow's next Icy Veins. I just don't know, Joe, if they can last another minute.
Indeed, Mara did a beautiful temporal shield to keep his ice blocks intact, and like you said, they still got two, but Rapai has no mana. If he's not able to get a drink, if Looney, Blizzo, and Zeepai are able to survive well defensively for the time being, they could be okay. Beautiful wind shield on that Everbolt from Looney coming in. Rapai completely oom. They just need to connect some damage. The Fist of Fury comes out onto Mara. It looks like they're gunning down for him. He does have those ice blocks to survive for now, but like I said, if Rapai doesn't get a drink, they won't be able to stabilize. And yeah, there's their first ice block.
Yeah, first ice block going to be forced out. Rapai just doesn't have the mana, like we said, to really heal through this damage. The XRB can keep up the pressure. They just need to hit anyone at this point. Just keep up the damage. Ebonbolt going to be cast out by Morrow. Uses the flurry on someone else, though. Looks like he wants to get some pressure over on a Looney, but Rapai in so much trouble. Pain suppression going to be used to deny some of that damage. Fist of Fury coming in from Blizzo. Zeepai and Blizzo might be able to close up this game, but it looks like Rapai is going to be able to get away in the nick of time. Nice Ring of Frost coming in from Morrow.
Indeed, they're peeling all the best they can, buying Rapai time to top his stuff up, and Looney actually grounded that Everbolt. That was such a huge ground return from Looney, just showing how good he is, but he gets put into a kidney. They're making a swap onto Looney with that Frozen Orb right now, but beautiful paralysis onto Acrolos. Will it be enough? He uses that Astral Shift as well now to survive this onslaught, and XRB to the moon, even though making a move and running out of time, they still need to find those win conditions soon.
Yeah, making a movie is just so good at stalling out the game. They realize they're in a difficult spot. Zeepai now getting swapped to, and like I said, Morrow has that Icy Veins up. They're able to get out the Icebound Fortitude. Another swap here over onto Rapai. He trades out the Trinket. He has the Rapture. He's just trying to deny some of that damage. Zeepai could be in some trouble as well, but Blizzo peeling up Morrow, denying some of those incoming damage. But unfortunately for him, Looney is caught into the polymorph. Big swap over onto Zeepai once again. Can they take him down? 3-0 XRB to the moon. XRB to the moon must be so frustrated. They want to take down Morrow for Rapai, but he's doing such a good job keeping himself alive.
Indeed, they're tunneling him down right now. They stun him on the Rapture, and this could be it. They're getting a lot of pressure with this. They have the Fist of Fury to follow it up as well. I think Rapai will go down. Morrow doing an excellent job peeling with these polymorphs. A Mind Freeze on the Shadow Mane. Rapai penances himself up. Blizzo trying to find a kill. They're playing defensively. They're just trying to survive. They kick him as well. Rapai on God mode once again to be able to survive here.
Yeah, Morrow trying to peel up the team as much as he can. Acro now caught into the stun. No Trinket. This is going to be it for making a movie. How is Rapai going to heal through this? Death Grip into Fist of Fury, and that is it. XRB to the moon puts a point on the board.
That is going to be the first mile marker on a long road back for XRB to the moon. They are going to do it, but the question is, how are they going to do it in a reverse sweep? How are they going to do this 3 times in a row? I think that, like Ben said a little bit earlier, this series has has been a little bit closer, though, than the scoreboard has indicated.
Absolutely, and I mean, we've seen it in both of the games that Making a Movie won. It was most definitely on the last setup that they could afford. They were definitely going to lose if that failed, and they managed to get that perfect setup and coordinate it and win it. Unfortunately for them, in this game, didn't quite work out for them. They tried to set up that big opportunity when there was no defense left on XRB, but Zipai did a beautiful job kiting and using this map to his advantage. Now, my big question for XRB is, how easy is this to replicate? Because I feel like in the blind, they have to play their Elemental, Destro Warlock, Resto Druid, because that is the overall best composition that deals with Windwalker Arcane as well as Asa Arcane, and it has a fair chance against Subfrost. That's the main comp that they need to lock in blind. Now, they have no more counter picks. They have no small maps to use to kind of play Windwalker DK into the RMP. So now begins the real test for me. Can XRB play LSD to that caliber where they can take down Making a Movie 2 times in a row?
Look at this. Radopai had absolutely no mana at all for so long. How did they manage to even get to that position, Joe? How did they manage to stay alive that long in this game? Radopai, you said was on absolute God mode. He was on another realm of existence. I don't even understand. How on earth was he able to stay alive that long?
I think it came down to both him and Mara basically having really good defensive play. Radopai just pretty much kiting away from Looney the entire time, just pretty much 100 yards away from him. Mara just doing an excellent job getting out of that wind shear and mind freeze race, so he's able to spam out those sheeps defensively. I think Mara's just a king on mage as well, which really helps the defensive play come out for Radopai.
And at the end, it definitely does look bleak, right, when you are in that scenario. But a thing to note was we look at the offensive cooldowns, we look at Maro's Icy Veins, and there was actually a point where when you were calling it, Ven, you were like, I don't think they're going to be able to make it another minute. I don't think they're going to be able to make it to the Icy Veins. And the thing is by Radopai being able to play like that, they find yet another offensive go. They have another chance at victory.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how Radopai does it. He manages to survive on Fumes for so long. Obviously, having Acro and Mara on your team is good. They're good at avoiding damage when they need to. They can play defensive. They know when they need to put out the stuns to keep themselves alive, put out the polymorphs to keep themselves alive, and they can buy Radopai a lot of time because of that. But yeah, I kind of agree with Zico. I mean, XRB to the moon, in this situation, they have to play out of their minds. Like, they really need to rise to the occasion, because I don't think they're going to be able to afford playing Windwalker Death Knight. We saw how that worked out for Method Orange. Wasn't necessarily the best matchup. I think XRB, they just need to go back to their bread and butter, play that lock Elemental Shaman with the Resto Druid, and just hope that they have the best performance of their life.
Because they're playing against Making a Movie, a rogue mage that can create so many additional goes. Like, that really is the thing. We've complimented them for being such an aggressive rogue mage in the past, but they also are aggressive, and they don't have to all into the point that they can't create more goes to have more chances. So the real thing is Making a Movie is the worst team to be playing against when you have to do a reverse sweep, in my mind, in a lot of ways. But what do you think, Joe, of this choice here?
I think it's a good choice overall. Like you said, they can't really blind pick the Windwall Death Knight, because then they'll run into the Assassinate Arcane, and we saw what happened to Method Orange, so just get stomped as that. So I think this is a good choice, bringing Warwicks in on that Affliction Warlock, able to maybe dampen Making a Movie. And Blizzard on that Windwalker, I think he's been playing it superbly as well. He'll have more peels with the paralysis and the double stuns from Fist of Fury and the leg sweep. They could potentially just out-mana and just stop every go Making a Movie has.
Zico, do you think that's going to be the line of play?
Honestly, I like this pick. This is something that I kind of blanked on a little bit, but they have this composition available to them, and this is a comp that does well into both RMP and into Windwalker Arcane as well. Now, with that said, I think Making a Movie could potentially lock in Asa Arcane, and they could go for a longer game where they try to kill the Warlock. And I'm not sure if that's the play to make here, but this is definitely XRB kind of throwing them a curveball, and this is definitely something that Making a Movie doesn't have a lot of experience playing against, whereas against the LSD, you can tell they know, okay, we can bait goes on the Shaman, and then we can actually kill Looney, and against the Windwalker DK, they know that, okay, these guys know how to abuse our trinket choices, and they know how to set up these triple CCs and get those kills. So this is a smart pick, actually. I like XRB's pick overall in this tournament, and usually I don't. I think they have terrible picks usually.
Okay, definitely a good thing to hear. But also, making a movie, I want to say it really is great to kind of see at LAN, also getting to see the involvement of Valet, like sitting there right now, being very instrumental in these picks. Like, sometimes you don't even think about what he really brings to the table. Being the Shadow Priest typically for this team isn't going to be coming in every game. He's going to be kind of one of those X factors when we do move into BFA. But you can see all of that experience that he has. I mean, he's been playing in tournaments for forever, and you can see very instrumental in the picks in that pregame period here, Van.
There's no question about it. He's a hyper-intelligent player, obviously very valuable as a fourth member of your team. We saw him actually come in with a very unconventional composition at the Spring Finals. They were kind of forced into playing Discipline Priest, Shadow Priest, Frost Mage, but they managed to make it work against Jungle Cleave. So even bringing him into some unique compositions, most likely not going to see him in this series. But I feel like XRB, they did a good job because of the map selection making a movie chose. They chose the Blade's Edge arena, and I think the reason they did that is because they know they have a really good chance against Windwalker Death Knight. So if they did decide to go with that once again, that's the map that is the best for them. Unfortunately, having a Warlock on this map is going to be more difficult, but I guess with the Assassination Rogue and the Arcane Mage, making a movie is going to be able to get out a lot of cleave damage unless they sort of play the bottom or spread out a lot.
So Zico was a little bit critical of the picks of XRB to the moon in the past. Joe, would you agree that that might be a weak point for this team?
In terms of, yeah, it could be a weak point of this team, and I think that it's just come to be more comfortable in their main compositions, but now as we see, Blizzo on that Windwalker has definitely helped widen their compositions and be able to pick that and blind pick that more like we see here, the Windwalker Lock Shaman.
Yeah, I mean, Blizzo, I mean, he is no stranger to compliments from the caster desk, but usually it really does come from his ability on the Warrior. How does the Windwalker look to you, Zico?
I mean, Blizzo has a very similar playstyle, I would say, on his Windwalker to his Warrior. He's very, very disruptive. You can tell that he has a defense first in mind kind of playstyle, and it works so well when you're playing with Looney and Zipai because they're all on the same page. They all have the same mentality where they want to extend the game and then find the win condition later on in the match.
Now the question is, will making a movie be able to close it out here and send XRB to the moon straight to the loser's bracket, or will XRB be able to extend this all the way to a Game 5?
Tap on Blizzo. Acro's going to be charging in, looking for some damage on Walrick right away. Maro, it's still in invisibility. There's a massive invis looking for the sheep over on a Looney, trying to fake cast that grounding totem. There it is. Full polymorph on Looney, but Walrick's immediately jumping off. Acro looking to spread some damage over on Blizzo as well. Really spreading out that pressure. Interrupt going out on Maro. Nicely done, denying some of that CC chain, but Ratified there for the full fear.
Indeed, Warwick's doing a beautiful spell like onto Maro, going to deny pressure and crowd control. The fear comes up to Looney, but their positioning is so good. They're able to peel. Missiles come out onto Blizzard. He used that Storm over fire, but is unable to get too much pressure. He stuns Maro though, getting a lot of damage out. He used that human ratio and that temporal shield to survive the onslaught. The kidney shot onto Looney, they could make a potential swamp to him. So much pressure coming out with this Vendetta. He's getting super low. Pops the trinket, astral shift, and a Ascendance, and he gets so low. He pops that Spirit Link totem now as well. I can't believe that was less than a fraction of percentage. Warwick's dropping low now as well. The pressure from Maro and Acro is absolutely insane.
Yeah, Looney needs some value on that Ascendance, but he gets fully blinded. Warwick now in a lot of trouble. He trinkets out, still has that unending resolve, but he jumps off. Acro's going to be chasing him. Immediate port from Walrick. Acro's kind of caught downstairs, but making a movie, that's a huge victory for them. They basically got every single defensive cooldown from their two targets in this matchup. Blizzo's going to be difficult to kill, so that doesn't really matter that he has his defensive left. They just need one clean setup onto Looney and they can take him down.
Indeed, Looney has absolutely enough. The Astral Shift in 5 seconds is the only thing that he's going to have relatively soon. Everything has been used, but Maro getting caught. He needs to use that Ice Block right now. That was the touch of death from Blizzard. So much burst damage coming from him, and they've turned that around. Now Maro doesn't have the Ice Block. Kill opportunities on sides, but a kidney shot onto Looney right now. He doesn't have the Earth Shield, I believe. He's in Ghost form. He pops the Earth Shield right now. A fear onto Blizzard as well. Warwick doing all he can to peel. He gets counterspelled. Maro doing so much pressure onto Looney. He keeps dropping lower and lower. Beautiful paralysis on the Acro Laws there. That buys time Looney to get those healing surges, and he's looking okay just for now. Warwick's getting soloed. He just about used that Hellstone as well to top himself off. So much damage coming from making a movie.
Yeah, Hellstone going to be used by Walk. We've seen Maro put out huge pressure before on that Arcane Mage. Now now a Hex over on the Ratify. They're looking for damage on the Maru. Big pressure coming in with that leg, but a nice life grip from Ratify will deny that kill. Maru should ultimately be able to survive. XRB to the moon running out of time. There's the full kidney shot. Pre-astral shift by Looney. I don't think he's going to die through this, but this is still so scary. Nicely done by Looney. That's the only thing keeping him alive here. Able to get off some healing surges. Able to manage to survive a little bit longer through that Vendetta. That was all the offensive killing in from making a move, but still, Blizzo and Walrix rotting down.
Indeed, even though Looney played perfect for that situation, he still needs to keep them up, and his mana is getting even lower as well. Warwicks has no Hailstone as well. Just the Demonic Resolve, and he gets counterspelled on it. Maro trying to get some pressure. The Earth Shield's up on him now. Warwicks and Blizzard trying to pressure Maro. They know that he has no Ice Block for quite some time. They know they need to try and finish him off, but I'm not sure if they'll be able to by the time Looney runs out of mana.
Yeah, Maro putting out good pressure on the Blizzo and Walrix. Stun on the Maro. There's a full blind on Looney. Maro in a lot of trouble, though. Gets the Greater Invis off for his team, or the Mass Invis off for his team. Walrix jumps. There's a sap on Looney. Walrix caught into the cheap shot. He trinkets out, ports away. He should be fine for now, but Blizzo still could be in a little bit of trouble. There's the follow-up Polymorph onto Looney as well. Incapacity coming in from Blizzo onto Acro to deny any more damage onto Looney. But if they can get a full stun on Looney, there's the kidney shot. Everyone from XRB to the moon is going to be rotting down.
Indeed, he has that Earth Shield preemptively on himself. Once again, Looney doing an excellent job reading those situations, those spots. Blizzard's really low there, and like you said, he's having a very difficult time keeping them alive. The Touch of Karma just about coming in the nick of time. Looney's going to have that Spirit Link and that Astral Shift ready, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. They're trying to kill Warwicks right now as well. They're getting a lot of pressure on the Mara. Kidney shot and Warwick trying to deny him, but so much damage coming in on the Mara. He's so low. Ratify triggering to try and heal him. Blizzo uses a leg sweep on him. The Vendetta comes out as well. Warwick's uses that Demonic Resolve. Both teams going at it blood for blood. Full Fear secured on the Ratify right now. Mara is in so much trouble. If Blizzo connects, it could be the end of his life.
Maro just kiting like a god right now. Blizzo can't reconnect, but finally get there. Unfortunately for him, Ratify's out of the crowd control. Kidney shot on Looney. Everyone rotting down from XRB, but Maro's in so much trouble. Power Shield connects. Full Fists of Fury will be enough for XRB to the moon to tie up this series 2-2.
Oh my goodness, we're going to a game 5 to determine it all here, making a movie versus XRB to the moon, and what a game it was. Absolutely insane on both ends. Everybody looking like a kill target, like a viable kill target throughout that series. Joe, what on earth just happened there on both sides? How did they find so many good targets?
Every time these teams meet each other, it's just neck and neck to the very end, and it's proven in this series. Just every game, even the ones they lose, they're so close to winning every single match. And like I said, what Zico said, I like to commend them on picking this composition and kind of using that to their map advantage. Maybe seeing that there's Blade's Edge, they have that up and down of the teleports with Blizzo and Warwick, so not really going to be very easy for them to get kill targets on them.
Just absolutely insane. I can't stop thinking about Maro kiting in that situation. Really thought he almost made it out of that very tough situation there, Zico.
Yeah, and I mean, he had some great kiting. They had a lot of pressure, but honestly, if it wasn't for Looney pre-astral shifting that one kidney, there would be nothing for Maro to kite. He would be dead. Honestly, Looney played this game like an absolute monster. Warwicks as well, jumping down, teleporting up, making sure to peel, even when he's on 20, 30% HP and they're going on Looney, taking the risk to get in the fray and try to make sure that his healer comes out of the situation. XRB's they are just firing on all cylinders today, and like we said before the matchup, these two teams always go to a game 5. There's no surprise it's going to be the same today, and they're doing it with great fashion and great picks as well.
Yeah, it was definitely a pretty flashy game there ultimately, and I'm excited to actually hear you break this one down.
Yeah, I mean, the opener was just phenomenal for these guys as well. They had such a nice opener right here, actually, where they managed to force every cooldown in the game from Looney. And at this point, when you have an opener like this, you have so much pressure. You can stay on Looney and you can switch between him and Warwicks all you want. And it all starts off with Acro dropping that kidney shot right there. And you can see here, Blizzo, he's already used his Paralyzed, and that's the only thing that usually can save your Shaman in this situation. You see here, everybody is clumped up behind this box here. Maro is going to be making his way there as well, and he has, of course, that Arcane Power available. And you can only really do this if you have Vanish as well. And Acro's going to do a good job with the Stun Lock as well. There's the Paralyzed. Actually, Acro trinkets out of that. And then he pops Evasion to avoid Blizzo's stun. So great job by Acro there. And then here he gets a Garrote on that trinket. Looney barely squeaks by there. And honestly, at this point, I would have liked to see, you know, just making a movie sit on Looney for the remainder of the game. There's no need to blind him and go to Warwicks. You don't have to do that. You can just blind Blizzo and stay tunneling on Looney. This guy has no link. He has literally no cooldowns whatsoever left in his arsenal, and no wall as well. So if you kidney him when he's already low, he's gonna go down. But if you switch between them and he gets another Astro Shift, and then he pre-Astro Shifts like he did, all of a sudden the game is being sort of reset, and XRB has a fighting chance.
All right, well, now both sides going to have a fighting chance. It's all going to come down to a game number 5. We're jumping to a quick break, but you do not want to go anywhere. When we return, we're going to find out who takes it.
I think it doesn't matter like how you play during the qualification or on ladder. It just all matters like how you play here on LAN, and anything can happen. With my team, we need to like focus on not raging, because like we do it like quite a lot when we lose. We are arguing with each other. We are not focusing on next game. We are not talking about like what should we change or anything. We are just arguing like who did like mistakes. And I think like these are the main thing we need to like always change like and improve to win.
I've been playing with Zipa and Looney for quite a while in general, since somewhere in the middle of Mists of Pandaria.
It's our first EU versus EU matchup of the day, and it's also going to be our first Game 5. This next one going to decide the first European team to drop down to the losers bracket. My name is Rich, and I'm joined on the desk by Zico, Joe Fernandez, and Venruki. And guys, this has been a pretty crazy series. Coming into this one right now, Zico, who do you think takes it?
Let me look at the comps. Okay, so it's the same matchup. I don't know. I mean, I went with XRB at the start. I would be a fool if I switched it now, so I'm just going to go XRB all the way. Let's go.
They were #1 on your power rankings at the beginning of the year, and now all of a sudden they're looking like they're back in that form, but making a movie also looking absolutely out of their minds in this land. And man, they were so close to closing it out multiple times in the past 2 games as well.
I still feel like making a movie might have an advantage in this matchup. I really feel like the Blade's Edge Arena map choice wasn't ideal for them. It's one of the only maps where, as an Arcane Mage, you really don't, unless you're jumping off and porting back up with your displacement, you really don't have that much room to capitalize on with that small bridge. You can't capitalize on the resonance, or sorry, the chrono shift where you're sprinted makes it much more difficult to kite the Windwalker on a map like this. You have so much more space to get away. I think he's going to be much more slippery of a target. We saw just how difficult it was even with that map disadvantage.
And building off of that, Joe, I really feel like we're in a, like, it can't be stressed just how crazy it would be if we saw the reverse sweep come out from XRB here.
Indeed, it would be absolutely crazy. Not only to just reverse sweep a team that they've been struggling with in the past, but to break that road curse that they've been struggling throughout the entire summer finals. And if they could do that, I think they could just take this tournament all the way with Blizzard on that Windwalker as well. They're going to be pushing right in now. Rampire and Akralos getting offensive. Warwick has that gateway to the big pillar there as well. That beautiful big gateway to be able to kite around, and that's what they're going to rely on to win with.
Yeah, Akro looking for some damage on Walrick right away, but I expect a big swap over on the Looney. Looney reads it, has her shield on himself, and that is what Making a Movie is going to capitalize on. Full sheep over on the Looney. Walrick could be in some trouble. He has the portal. He ports away to safety. Akro not really able to reconnect. Nice damage coming in from Blizzo, really punishing Morrow in this opener.
Indeed, using a lot of damage there with the Strike of the Winds, but they make a swap on the Blizzard right now, getting the Arcane Missile as well. He's going to roll away, teleport away as well. Looney puts that Earth Shield onto him, and compared to the other opener, they have a much easier time just using that Healing Tide rather than everything. Mara using the Arcane Missiles as well. Rampire and Akralos getting stunned right now by Blizzard. Blizzard's onto Rampire, trying to get rid of that Vim and Vigor, maybe. Yeah,
no, it's good. I like the double stun. I like the pressure on a Rattapie, full blind on Looney. Walrus immediately ports away, though, doing such a good job kiting in this matchup. Akros lands the full stab, and immediately he's gone. Blizzo into the kidney shot, though. They might be able to get his Trinket Karma here. Kidney shot might be enough, but Blizzo ultimately is going to be able to survive. Fortifying Elixir is used, holds onto the Trinket, holds onto the Touch of Karma, and that was the blind setup. They really didn't get anything.
Indeed, they pre-fortified Brood that go, but he's still very low on HP. Marrow low on HP as well. They both need to be very careful. He used that temporal shield as well as that mass invisibility. Blizzard's still very low. Looney having a hard time to keep him top. He gets put into the kidney as well. A swap onto Looney with the Vendetta right now. A paralysis used onto him. Looney and Blizzard once again both getting low, but the Ascendance comes out now as well as that Earth and Shield Tome to mitigate the Vendetta and the Arcane Power and to stabilize now.
They're going to be able to stabilize in this situation. Looney doing a good job. Full Hex now on a Rattapie. Morrow in some trouble. He only has one Ice Block, keep in mind, and he's forced into it. He's not going to have another Ice Block for quite some time. Good offensive pressure from XRB. Blizzo could be in a little trouble, but he still has all his defensives incapacitated over on a Rattapie. Morrow not getting topped off. Rattapie finally able to find some heals. Now some pressure coming in from Akro onto Walrix, but really he should be okay.
The XRB team are looking very good. Blizzard's still low HP though, but they don't have... Akralos has 0 defensive quarters for quite some time. A full leg sweep on the Rampire. Looks like they're going for him. He trinkets out of that stun, uses that knock on the Storm Overfire. I like that knock from Rampire. That's very good. And he just swaps over to Akralos, forces the human racial as well. Blizzard just forcing trinkets and human racials left, right, and center. Mara's still low as well. Warwick's and Blizzard pumping the pressure right now. Blizzard's still low though. The kidney swap onto Looney. They don't have the Vendetta though. They're getting a lot of pressure though. He Earth Shields now, but he might just die during those missiles. He pops that Earth Shield Tome and the Astral Shift and barely escapes from dying.
Yeah, Akro's going to have his blinding a little bit of time here. If he can get Looney's Trinket, they might be able to take him down. No Trinket, no Astral Shift. There's a counterspell onto Looney. Blizzo in a little bit of trouble. They can force out the Touch of Karma. That's going to create another opening for them, but Warwick's very good defensive here, just spamming out the control on Morrow as well as Akro. Akro uses the Cloak of Shadows, looking for damage on the Blizzo. Finally able to force out that Touch of Karma. Like I said, now they can do a blind on the Looney, get his Trinket, put some pressure on Blizzo, and then maybe do the all-in on Looney.
Indeed, and there's the swap onto him with that kidney shot, the Vendetta as well. They're getting a lot of pressure though right now onto Looney. He gets put into the Garai, might need to Trinket Link, and that's exactly what happens at the same time. Blizzo double leg sweeps Mara and Akralos. They force that pain suppression. They force the Rapture now as well. Both teams running out of fumes right now. A full blind onto Looney. Blizzo has absolutely nothing to survive. How is he going to do it? A beautiful gateway though that's keeping him alive right now. The fuse spell as well. Mara getting low as well. Beautiful spell lock onto him. Somehow they live this situation when they should have really died.
Yeah, a Windwalker Monk with a gateway. Going to be a very mobile class, and ultimately Blizzo uses that, able to get away, and unfortunately that setup for Making a Movie isn't going to to be able to close out the game, but Looney still no astral shift, no trinket. Shot on Blizzo. Can they take him down? He trinkets! So much damage coming in from Maro. A clutch port from Blizzo. Ultimately going to be able to survive. Good positioning from Looney. Able to get those heals. Acro is able to reconnect, putting the same pressure on to Blizzo. It seems like Blizzo is the opening target that Making a Movie really needed in this matchup.
Indeed, Blizzard's just able to kite away. He has the stuns of Diddy. He's using that 4-5 brew. The double leg sweep comes out. A lot of pressure on the Rapide, but a lot of pressure on himself as well. The Sheeps onto Looney. If it gets out, he needs to be able to top it off. He has the healing tide if needed it, and it might be needed. He's just super low. The 4-5 brew comes out. He's so dangerous. He's 5 seconds to the touch of karma. I'm not sure if he's gonna get it. He teleports again. He should be okay for now. He's gonna have that touch of karma, and now XRB to the mover looking pretty good, but he gets kidneyed. He doesn't have the trinket. Looney trying to keep him alive. He puts that urban shield to him right now. He may need to use that touch of karma, and he does. The Vendetta was used to it. He puts that touch of karma on the Ratapie, and now Blizzo will survive.
Yeah, no trinket, no touch of karma though. Pressure out on the Ratapie. He doesn't have any defensive left that they can continue this pressure. I think he is going to be able to ultimately get away. Blizzo using the mobility to reconnect. Looney on top to get the offensive dispels out. Ratapie in a lot of trouble right now. Big pressure, touch of death going to be available for Blizzo as well. Nice double fear coming in from Ratapie, allowing him to top himself off. But Blizzo is the one that's going to be in so much trouble.
Indeed, they're reducing the pressure on Maro, looking for a sheep. He fakes the wind shear, but he gets spell locked by Warwick's. Beautiful play by Warwick's going to deny that sheep, but it looks like Maro might be able to get off soon. Looney might have his wind shear. Blizzard's all over Ratapie right now. It's just keeping that Vim and Vigor off. He knows that he's oon, but so is Looney. This game is still going very low. Maro's getting chunked down by Warwick's alone. He has to use a temporal shield. He has the ice block soon. The full counter spell to Looney, but Maro is getting completely decimated by Warwick's doing a lot of pressure. Blizzard's connecting now. He gets Fist of Fury, but Ratapie grips it. He's blinking away. Blizzard trying to gun him down right now. A defensive blind onto Warwick's might make them survive for now, but it will make them lack a kill later on.
Yeah, Ratapie cannot get that Vim back up. This is very important for XRB to continue this pressure. Now an incapacitate on Maro. You can see Blizzo changing his attention over onto Ratapie, trying to keep him low, but Ratapie manages to stabilize himself. We have 6% dampening right now. Double leg sweep coming in. Maro looking for the polymorphs, but just getting wind sheared over and over. XRB doing an excellent job denying him. Blizzo could be in some trouble, but the touch of karma is going to be available in 3 seconds. Nice fears coming in from Wallach, really denying that damage.
He used that on the Vendetta. The Vendetta was up for around 9 seconds. If they can somehow survive for the next Vendetta, I think they could take down Blizzard because they'll get it back before that next touch of karma. But right now, that's a very high mountain to climb because Ratapie once again is completely owned. Doesn't have that Vim and Vigor, and in 9% dampening, I don't think he'll get it back. An evasion used by Acros. He trinkets the paralysis. They're trying to kill Looney now. They're in desperation pursuit right now, but Blizzard's on top of Ratapie. They force that pain suppression right now. That's the last offensive they have for quite some time. Maro dropping lows as well. Warwick's completely crushing everyone with that spread pressure. Ratapie triggering, but the DR leg sweep. He is so low on HP. Somehow he's still surviving. The kidney, but down he goes. Blizzard takes him out with that Storm Earth and Fire, and they have broken that row curse. They 3-2 making a movie and move on into that final.
They do it in a reverse sweep.
Unbelievable.
That was a reverse sweep against a team that was putting so much pressure on, had so many opportunities where it looked like they were going to be able to take it. XRB, a squad that we were saying, it honestly looked like they had fallen off. They were one of the best teams at the beginning of the season, and now they're going to get a reverse sweep on the main stage. They are going to stay in the upper portion of the bracket, and they are looking absolutely next level. And then you look at Making a Movie going down to the lower portion of the bracket. That is not what you want if you're NA either. It is going to be very tough to get out of the lower portion of the bracket. Well played on every single side of that stage. Phenomenal series, one of the best series that we have seen today. Both of these teams just putting on a show for us. You couldn't ask for a better Game 5 than that.
This was such a well-played series from both sides. We really saw that RMP that we've been hyping up time and time again from Making a Movie take 2 quick ones, and then we saw XRB finally bringing some of their other compositions. Finally, we don't only see them on that LSD, they switch over to the Windwalker Lock Shaman, barely wins the first game on